ver.
Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome. Bienvenida a nuestro rincón de idiomas. ¿Te puedes presentar, por favor?
Sí, muchas gracias. Buenas tardes, porque es la tarde.
Es tarde aquí. Sí,
También es tarde aquí, porque
sí, son las 4 de la tarde aquí.
Vale.
¿Ahí? ¿A qué hora tienes ahí?
Hasta 12, el mediodía, 12:15. 12:15.
Ok. Hola, buenas tardes, camaleón. Este es
Buenas tardes.
es un amigo mío que vive en España también.
Qué guay.
Sí. Estamos aquí todos así en plan idiomas al máximo. Entonces, perdona, te he cortado. ¿Qué hora
No,
tienes ahí ahora? ¿Ahí?
son las 12:15. Con 16 ahora.
Con 16. Entonces, dinos un poco sobre ti, háblanos de ti un poquito.
Vale, sí. Pues me llamo Catania. Soy de Nueva York, pero mis padres son de Santa Lucía, en el Caribe. Es una pequeña isla entre Saint Vincent y Martinica. Y sí, me nació en Nueva York, en Brooklyn, Nueva York, y empecé de estudiar idiomas. Mi primer, yo pienso es un poco divertido porque mi primer idioma era español, pero yo no estaba muy bien con esto. Y cuando yo tenía 10 años, pienso, pero entonces un año después cambié de escuelas y empecé a estudiar francés.
Francés.
Sí, francés. Y yo y elegí francés porque mis padres, porque son de Santa Lucía, hablan un patois, una mezcla de francés y de como los idiomas de los esclavos de Santa Lucía. Y tiene un base en francés. Pero cuando yo era pequeña, no era un idioma escrita, era solo un idioma hablada. Y mis padres, porque han crecido en Santa Lucía, aprendieron patois solo porque todo el mundo, como sus padres, hablan. Y ellos pensaban que mi hermana y yo pueden aprender el patois de la misma manera, pero no dieron cuenta que vivimos en Nueva York y todo el mundo habla en inglés.
Claro, normal. Entonces, es muy curioso porque cada vez que pienso en patois, claro, yo pienso en el patois de Belice o el patois de Jamaica, que es un patois muy influenciado por el inglés. Entonces, vuestro patois es como un patois francés, ¿no?
Sí.
¡Wow! Vaya diferencia. ¿Me puedes decir, por ejemplo, una palabra o una frase en patois de Santa Lucía? Una frase o una palabra.
Oh, sí. Pues, ¿qué puedo decir? Algo muy divertido.
Lo que sea.
Me voy chatla, muy sé chatla.
Lentamente. Escríbelo en el chat para que lo vea. A ver si lo puede imitar. A ver si lo pones en el chat. A ver. Es que...
Muy sé chatla.
love the way French sounds, but I always sound like someone strangling me when I try to speak it. Es horrible. A ver, gosh, voy a intentar. Voy a intentarlo. Vamos a ver. Mueshala. Fatal.
No, era muy bien.
¿Sí?
Sí, la única como fela.
El fallo, okay. ¿Cuál era mi fallo?
Fallo.
Mueshala.
Okay. Chat.
Chat.
Yeah.
Hay que pronunciar la T. You have to say the T, okay.
Muese,
shatla, shatla.
Sí.
Yeah. What does it mean? ¿Qué significa? Por Dios, ¿qué significa?
Sí. Significa que yo veo el gato ahí. Me oigo.
The cat there.
El gato ahí.
I should have known because it has shat, and I know that shat is cat. Well, muese shatla, shatla. Estoy preparada.
Sí.
Estoy preparada para el pachua de Santa Lucía. Entonces, dime, ¿qué otros idiomas hablas? What other languages do you speak?
Pues hablo alemán también, por supuesto francés, porque intenté aprender francés para entender el patois mejor y ha funcionado, pero ahora hablo francés mejor que el patois.
¿Qué alemán?
Pero estoy intentando, porque a veces, pero ahora estoy intentando más hablar el patois con mis padres.
Okay.
Pienso que a veces yo tenía un poco miedo de hablar el patois con mis primos porque ellos han de mi acento americana.
Sí. Es como que eres la prima extranjera con acento, que realmente no eres de la isla, ¿no?
Sí.
Qué raro. Ayer, Camaleón, ojo de camaleón, y yo estábamos hablando de lo mismo. Cuando hablas, es que como hay un sentimiento de autenticidad, ¿no? Como que no eres auténtico porque a lo mejor los demás te miran o te juzgan de una manera y es difícil. Pues a veces te pierdo. ¿Me sigues? Yo creo que el internet a veces se nos va.
Sí.
Vale, pero te voy a preguntar.
Ahora es mejor.
Está mejor, ¿vale? Okay. Te voy a hacer algunas preguntitas en alemán, ¿vale?
Sí. Vale, sí.
Y las contestas es para escucharte solamente, ¿vale? Vale. Muy básicas, vale. Wie würdest du dich beschreiben? Wie würdest du dich beschreiben?
Mich selber?
Ja.
Ich würde sagen, dass ich beschreiben. Okay. Ja, ich könnte etwas Kleines sagen, dass ich
Von Worte
ich bin 35 Jahre alt. Ich bin eine schwarze Frau, ich komme aus den USA. Ich habe, was man beschreiben, dass ich sehr süß bin und dass viele Leute haben mir gesagt, dass ich ein süßes Akzent habe.
Wow. Okay, das ist gut.
Ich bin eine ältere Schwester. Ja,
okay. Okay. Was für Musik magst du?
Im Moment.
Was für Musik magst du?
Nochmal bitte. Die Internet ist nochmal.
Okay. Was für Musik
mit uns.
magst du? Musik. Was für Musik magst du?
Ich mag viele Arten von Musik, aber meistens, ich würde sagen, dass ich mag Popmusik.
Okay,
Zum Beispiel die Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
Aber auch mag ich etwas, dass ich tanzen kann. Etwas mit einem Beat.
Ja.
Und auch
Okay, das ist okay.
Ich mag Dancehall auch. Like mein Lieblings ist Destra.
Ich auch. Dancehall war Jamaica. Okay, bist du sportlich? Bist du sportlich? Das Internet-Connection ist sehr schlecht. Bist du sportlich?
Ja, Moment, ja, es ist schlecht. Wie bitte?
Bist du sportlich? Bist du sportlich? Bist du sportlich?
Ja, ich bin sportlich. Ich renne manchmal. Okay, vielleicht ich soll wie sagt man das? Wechseln. Maybe I should change. Quizás tengo que cambiar a Google Chrome.
Okay. Pues, okay, go ahead and change. Está bien, no pasa nada.
Ein Moment, bitte.
Das ist okay. Heute, mein Internet auch ist so langsam. Es ist schlecht, sehr schlecht.
Ja, ich weiß noch nicht, warum.
Okay.
Aber du hast sehr gute Wörter.
Nein. Nein.
Nein. Aber verstehst du?
Nur nein. Ich habe so viel vergessen. Ich habe seit 15 Jahren keine Deutsch sprechen. Also ich habe keine Idee über...
Okay.
Nein. Nicht.
Über was?
Okay. Was ist dein Lieblingsfilm? Dein Lieblingsfilm? Was ist?
Ich würde sagen The Sound of Music.
Okay. Muy bien. Eso está muy bien. Ahora vamos a volver a español. We're going to go back to Spanish, I think. Okay. ¿Es difícil para ti cambiar de idioma?
Yeah.
Is it difficult for you to switch from language to language?
Okay, hold on. No sé was. Wow. No sé was. Guckst du dieses Vermischung?
Ja?
Es weiß. Okay, let's see what's happening with this internet. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasa con esta internet aquí?
Ich weiß es nicht. Okay. Camaleón, ojo de camaleón.
Works.
Que estás ahí. Vamos a esperarlo un pelín. Bailaré un poco. Sí, poco a poco. Es que te atascas. Que no pasa nada. Tenemos paciencia. I will dance to entertain everyone until you fix it. No pasa nada. So if you've just logged on, we have a sentence from St. Lucia Patois, mixed with French. Moi c'est chat là, moi ouais chat là. It's very different from Jamaican Patois, I think, obviously because it's mixed with French. But we like that.
That's not a good phrase. I'm not a good phrase.
Okay, yeah, but write it down so we can try. I can put it up. Okay, write it in the chat meanwhile.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Google Chrome is coming up, so it might. I don't know if we have like double time, but yeah, but it's coming up. It's coming up. Maybe it might do better than Firefox, my computer.
Okay, hopefully.
Let me find it. Probably not going to spell
Yeah.
this word because there's no.
Ojo de camaleón, estoy de acuerdo contigo. Es que no sé si es por el mal tiempo. Hay muchísimo viento, pero realmente that should not be affecting the Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi has been a bit iffy as well lately. Don't know why that is. But
yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, so allow. Maybe that might work a little bit. Let's see.
okay.
I think this is my version of it, I guess.
Oh, okay. We love
let's see.
learning new things from whatever language it might be.
Okay. Okay, so entering. We see double of me. Let's see.
Okay, device is not connected. I'll add you to stream on the other one and see if you come up. Oh, okay.
Oh, so there's double.
Okay, I'll take you off here.
Okay, let me close.
Maybe I closed the wrong one. Did I close the wrong one?
Maybe. I don't know. Wait, let's see.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I think that worked. Okay, awesome. I think this might work better because Firefox is kind of funky on my computer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so if you... I don't know. I'm actually hearing you double. Say something. Diálogo.
Oh, no.
What? Did I delete the wrong one?
How about now? No, I think...
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me? ¿Me escuchas?
Are you hearing double or?
No, but ¿me escuchas tú a mí?
Oh, no. I can... Sí, puedes oír, pero ahora... Oh, pienso que ya. Es que el video está congelando un poco. Pero está bien ahora, pienso.
Okay.
Por el momento.
Vale. So, la otra expresión en patois, ¿cuál es? Another expression in St. Lucian patois. Escríbemelo.
So I have...
Okay. Me has puesto. Okay. I have to show it in the chat so everyone can see it. Okay. I think we like this. Guys, do not laugh if I say it incorrectly. Si lo digo mal, perdóname. Que voy a intentarlo. You first. Go first.
Okay. It's a pa puemue por un papi show.
I think I know what that is.
Oh, you do?
Is it? You take me for a bit of a fool, a little bit of an idiot, or not somebody who's not serious?
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
The patois are linked. All the patois are linked. It doesn't matter if it's French. Okay.
So it's like, don't take me for a joke.
Yeah. How did I know that? Papi show en el patois jamaicano se dice igual.
Yeah.
We would say, "Well, you took me for papi show. You took me for papi show. Where you take me for?" I love it. I love that one. Give me another one. Now I'm feeling on top of the world. Give me another one.
I'm trying to think of good phrases now.
Or just okay. Words or whatever it might be.
Other good ones. All right.
I'm coming to St. Lucia just so I can learn some St. Lucian patois. What you ever need?
Okay, so greetings, I could say. Now this one's close. It's close to like Haitian Creole. It's a sakafet. It's like, how are you?
Sakafet.
So how are you?
Okay, sakafet.
If you want to say I'm good, he's like muy bien.
Muy bien.
Like I'm okay.
That sounds like muy bien. That sounds like this is what I love about language. Like the more of them you learn, the more connections you see and the more words you recognize, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty. And this is why I say to my students all the time, you learn one and then the next one is going to be so much easier. Because you start joining the dots together and it all starts to make sense, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love it. I love the way it sounds.
Yeah.
But and if you think of any other good ones, just let me know. Okay.
Also, just like to respond to like say muela or like what is it? I always say like is it muela? It's like I muela. Oh yeah, muela is like I'm there or like I'm okay. Like
yeah, muela.
Muela.
Okay, me encanta. Bienvenida tan linda, que te quiero mucho. Okay, estamos con Catania, que ella es de los Estados Unidos, pero sus raíces son de Santa Lucía y toda esa mezcla de idiomas a nosotros nos encanta. Entonces, ¿puedes decirnos, Catania, de dónde nació realmente? ¿Cuándo sabías que querías seguir aprendiendo idiomas? A veces se atasca.
¿Puedes repetirlo? El internet estaba...
Sí. ¿Cuándo te diste cuenta que tenías
lento.
esa pasión? Lo voy a poner ahí. ¿Cuándo te enteraste de que tenías esa pasión para aprender el idioma?
Pienso que era cuando yo tenía como en liceo, en high school. ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Instituto?
En el instituto. En el instituto.
Sí, pienso que era realmente en el instituto, sí. Porque yo como yo decía un poco antes, empecé o elegí de estudiar francés cuando yo tenía 12 años y era la razón para entender el patois mejor. Pero cuando yo estaba como en el instituto, yo me di cuenta como que realmente me gustaba mucho como los idiomas y el arte, como dibujar, de bailar. Y cuando yo tenía que elegir cuál sería mi major por el colegio, por la universidad.
Sí.
Yo pensé que yo voy a estudiar arte o idiomas. Y también yo quería, después mucho, cuando yo quería también, yo tenía el plan de empezar el castellano, porque y era quizás por una razón divertido también, o divertida, pero porque cuando yo era en el middle school, muchas personas pensé que yo era dominicana o puertorriqueña. Y yo tenía muchos, no sé, pero solo quizás porque era como la población, era una mezcla de personas negras y hispanas. Sí. Y yo tenía muchas amigas de hispanas, de raíces puertorriqueñas y dominicanas, y como también estudiantes como yo, con padres del Caribe. Y muchas de mis amigas hispanas, yo pensé que yo sabía español, y ahora como no solo conozco francés, y yo tenía quizás ahora tengo que aprender el castellano.
Claro. De ahí.
Sí, de ahí. Y por mí, y cuando yo estaba aceptada a mi universidad, Purchase College, en Westchester, New York, yo registré por español y francés, español y las cosas básicas que predeterminadas por las personas en primer año de universidad. Y yo tenía la suerte que esa universidad tenía un programa o un grupo que estudiaba en Burgos, como por primer año. Y yo quería ir, pero mi madre tenía un poco miedo que yo sería tan lejos de ella. Pero por suerte, quizás por suerte, Purchase College también en este tiempo era conocida de no tener mucho espacio en los dormitorios y a veces las personas tenían que estudiar en otra universidad por un semestre y después regresar al campus.
Claro.
Y por este verano, antes que mi primer semestre a Purchase, mi madre siempre, con cada día, llamó a la escuela para buscar si había una plaza más, porque allí, porque también en este tiempo vivimos en Brooklyn, que es una hora y media por tren para ir a Purchase. Y sería muy incómodo de tomar como 1 o 2 horas en tren para ir a Purchase y después regresar a Brooklyn.
Claro.
Entonces sería mejor que yo vivo en el dormitorio. Sí, que viviera en el dormitorio. Después de como un mes, pienso, como casi como en agosto, en julio, era en 2003, una de las personas de la oficina de Schwar's Office, no sé cómo traduzco esto, dijo a mi madre que las únicas, en ese momento, todos los dormitorios son llenos. Y uno de los dos elegidos, ¿cómo se dice? Choices, no. Ahora estoy... Opciones, gracias. Opciones. Era de... porque también yo estaba aceptada a otras universidades por Nueva York también, como ciudad. Y hay como dos quizás es muy pequeños detalles. Otra opción de estudiar a Hunter College, que es en la ciudad, como CUNY College, pero está conectado con los State Universities, SUNYs. Sí, y entonces yo puedo ir a otra universidad, Hunter College, y después regresar a Purchase por el Spring. Cálmate, Catania.
No pasa nada, tranquilamente.
Por la primavera. O yo puedo ir con este grupo que va a ir a Burgos. Entonces yo sería como un estudiante de Purchase, como al mismo tiempo que puedo regresar al campus de Purchase por la primavera cuando había espacio en uno de los dormitorios. Entonces mi madre me llamó y me dijo, ¿recuerdas que cuando querías ir a Burgos con Purchase? Y yo estaba como, sí, like, ¿todavía quieres ir? Yo yo, sí, puedo ir.
Entonces pudiste.
Sí. Entonces, mi primer año de mi universidad, yo vivía en Burgos y allí yo aprendí el español. Sí.
Muy bien. ¿Te gustó Burgos?
Sí, me gusta mucho. Sí.
Okay. All right. Another question, because I like to mix up the languages a bit. When do you speak each language? When do you speak each? How? Because as I said to Ojo de Chameleon ayer, I said to him, depending on how I'm feeling, I might speak one language or I might choose the other. When do you speak French? When do you speak Spanish? When do you speak English? When do you speak Patois? When do you speak German?
Sure, yeah. It's funny. I've noticed that too, that like there's certain times when I'll switch to another one.
Yeah.
So I do speak English most of the time because right now I live in DC.
Okay.
So of course, most places English is the de facto official language of the state, because it's not in the Constitution, because they don't want to be American. Anyways, like Americans want to be Americans and not like put something official. So it's de facto official language of the state.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I notice I speak German a lot, which is so funny. I speak German when I'm sort of concentrating on something. So when I'm by myself, sometimes when I'm concentrating and I have to like be like very exact in my head, I'll switch to German, and I'll be like, ja, ich muss das auch machen jetzt, und ja, ich brauche das.
Dein Akzent ist sehr gut auf Deutsch. Sprichst du sehr gut Deutsch? Dein Akzent ist sehr gut.
You.
Ja.
Thank you. So I guess we'll talk about a little later. I actually got to study in Germany in 2008, 2009. So I'll tell you more about that a little bit later. And then also I noticed when I'm a little like not nervous, what's the word, like genervt. Oh, I'm a little annoyed sometimes. And so I'm like, I'm just like, oh, like ich bin so genervt im Moment. And just
Te sale, no?
In Spanish, I notice sometimes I just like a bit, well, especially New York, because like in the city, there's a lot of people from the Caribbean, the Spanish Caribbean, and also other parts of Latin America. A lot of times I'll probably just switch to it when I hear someone speak Spanish. And then sometimes I'll just like and then what else when I speak Spanish? So I'll sometimes just switch to Spanish whenever I hear someone speaking Spanish. And then also when I'm sometimes very excited, I'll just be like, oh, estoy muy emocionada de esto para pasar, me voy por España, mis primos vienen. So also when I'm excited, I'll go into Spanish. French. And then sometimes when it kind of shows the German. Sometimes when I'm a little annoyed and like someone around me doesn't speak Spanish, I'll go into Spanish. And it's funny, actually, when I know people speak Spanish around me, I'll go into German because I know people.
Okay. Das ist sehr komisch. Okay.
So I guess when I don't want people to know what I'm saying, I'll go to German. I feel like fewer people speak German than they will speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And then French, I think I usually go to when I think I kind of with like Spanish too. Like when I hear someone speaking French, then like my next thought will go into French. And then also like I think when I'm feeling kind of like diplomatic in my head, I'm like, okay, je dois faire.
Yeah. Okay.
And then patois, I think it's more like I'll switch into patois thinking or like so I can like have a trigger point a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
And I also forgot to mention I do speak a little bit Catalan too, so I understand Catalan.
Okay. Say something in Catalan. I'm frozen now.
Okay. Okay, now I have to think about it.
I sent a word, just a word.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Is anybody?
Can I like just the video's frozen?
Okay, no, but I can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay. In Catalan, sure. Absolutely. Yo soc de Nova York. Soc Nova York. Parlo una mica català.
Okay. Parlo català.
In l'any que vaig néixer.
Okay.
I'm like, l'any que vaig néixer era 85. El año que yo nació era 1988, 85.
Okay. Okay.
Pensar más para sacarlo.
No pasa nada. Tan Linda is asking you, what language do you dream in? It's on the screen.
A little, let's say the majority English.
Okay.
Majority English, but there are times when parts of it go into another language. Like the other night actually I woke up and I remembered that I had like a section of it where I broke into German.
Uh-huh.
And then there's times, and then I noticed it also, like in my language journey, like when I did a summer in France, there were moments where I dreamt in French. And then there are also times when I do, and then also when I studied in Spain, there were times when I dreamt in Spanish. But now that I've been here in DC, I've noticed that like most of the time I dream in English, and then there are parts of it that go into Spanish. And I wake up and I'm like, wow, I had a whole like Spanish section in my dream, and then there's parts of the dream where I dream in German, and I'm like, wow, I totally spoke to this person in my dream in German.
Listen, this is a really funny question, but favorite words. I have an obsession with favorite words, porque hay palabras que para mí, cuando me dices ciertas palabras, me despiertan ciertas emociones o sentimientos. Entonces, voy a preguntarte, ¿cuál es tu palabra favorita primero en inglés, luego en español, luego en francés? Tus palabras favoritas. Okay. Lo pongo en el chat. So your favorite word in French? German?
It's un poco congelada, or like slow frozen. So I'm thinking.
Okay.
Pero desde que yo entendí.
Okay.
¿Me estás? Okay. Okay, sí, entendí esto. A través con todo el congelando con la imagen, pienso. Pienso que en español, pienso, no sé. Tortuga, no sé por qué.
Tortuga. Okay.
No sé. Quizás porque me encanta como sale
como
en la
suena.
boca, no sé. Tortuga. ¿Cómo suena? Tortuga. No sé.
Okay.
¿Cómo suena? Pienso que sí. Pero pienso que hay otra palabra, pero esto es la primera que me... también paraguas.
Paraguas. Okay,
pero me gusta mucho como traducir la umbrella, or ich würde sagen, que cada vez que llueva, estoy pensando, estoy pensando en la palabra umbrella en los 3 idiomas. Como, parapluie, paraguas,
Regenschirm.
Y como...
Okay.
Sí.
Muy bien.
Y parapluie. Pero yo también estoy pensando como es como en cada idioma es como no exactamente, pero es una palabra muy descriptiva en cada palabra, en cada idioma.
Sí.
Que en español paraguas es paraguas, for water. En francés, parapluie, for the rain. Pero en alemán, Regenschirm is like a rain shield.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you write it in French so we can put it on? Can you write it in French? Because I won't even attempt to put that up.
I think that's how you spell it. I probably... Let's see. Parapluie. I think that's how you spell it.
Okay. Parapluie. I like the way it sounds. Parapluie.
Actually, there's an extra. It's actually extra. Actually, this is the correct spelling. Here's the correct spelling.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, that's it.
See, that's the thing.
And then in German. Regenschirm. That's right. Schirm. And then it's like Regenschirm.
Okay. I like the way it sounds.
Okay, now it's a little frozen.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
If there's anyone French listening to that, I'm sorry, I apologize for butchering your language. Okay. Okay. And yeah, this is in German. Regenschirm.
Favorite word in German. Ooh, maybe überrascht. Vielleicht. It's such a nothing word, though.
It's a nothing word.
I'm sorry, I'm so excited now. I'm like thinking about it. Other favorite words. En français.
En français. Doesn't it sound amazing, guys?
Ooh.
Okay. Ahora
tengo muchas más palabras que quizás me da risa. Eso es como me da risa. Okay, so en alemán, otras palabras que me gusta mucho, es como un filler word, eigentlich. Means like eigentlich, she's like, and you can't think of what you want to say. It's kind of more of a, to make the sentence a little more like possibly, or make it softer. You say eigentlich. Like eigentlich is for that's not like, nah, I probably do that. It's kind of like, it's like an in English.
Yeah. Eigentlich.
So
I
think
eigentlich.
Yeah, eigentlich. I think how you spell it.
Really? Yeah.
So like, yeah, I like that. Ich mag das. And another one, otra palabra que me gusta en alemán, I find myself using a lot, I think. So eigentlich. Oh, überrascht. I like überrascht. Überrascht. And that's like surprised or like excited. Like, ich bin sehr überrascht.
Überrascht is una sorpresa.
There should be an umlaut over that, and I just can't figure out how to do that.
And
yeah.
Don't worry. Okay, so what advice would you give to younger people who are trying to learn a language? Because at school, sometimes we struggle. If we're going to be honest, we struggle with language learning. What advice would you give to someone who is struggling with learning language at the moment?
I would say to find an avenue into it that makes you excited. So I find something. Yeah, for example, like I know how I got better, and it also makes me funny. It's funny because I think it's funny. So find an avenue, something that you like. So how I think I got better at Spanish too, or how I kept it, was that I found a pop artist named David Bisbal.
David Bisbal.
And
no.
I used to listen to his sí, en 2003, cuando yo estaba en Burgos, la primera canción que oímos en los bares era Bulería.
Esa canción me gusta. Así que people don't come for me, okay?
Bulería, bulería. De la bulería, bulería, más te quiero cada día, enamorado desde que te vi.
Okay. Entonces, ¿a ti te gusta bailar? ¿Te gusta bailar? Are you a dancer?
¿Cómo?
Do you like to dance? ¿Bailas?
Por favor.
No, si te gusta. ¿Te gusta bailar? Do you like to dance?
Sí, me encanta. Sí.
Okay.
¿Me gusta?
What kind of dance do you like?
Sí, me gusta bailar mucho.
¿Qué tipo de baile? ¿Flamenco? ¿Ballet? ¿Qué te gusta?
What kind of dances do I like?
Yeah.
¿Qué tipos de baile? Me gusta, o me encanta baile. Me gusta salsa, y merengue y bachata. Y también como, me gusta modern. Porque también yo tomé clases en modern dance también, ballet. Y cuando viví en Burgos, había una opción de tomar un poco clases de flamenco. Entonces conozco un poco sevillanas, un poco de flamenco, como las armas o las, ¿sí?
How do you do? What do you do
Me
to your
gusta
hands?
también, o puedo
What do you do
hacer,
to your hands?
también aprendí un poco. Oh, las palmas or las.
Sí.
Like
What do you do?
for like sevillanas? Yeah.
Like this? No idea. Just
Can you
probably
see
looks
me?
like I'm
Because you're
trying to
frozen
ring
a little
something
bit
out.
now. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Oh, I think.
It's just that your
Oh, so you have to
connection's
do it
quite bad. Yeah.
como like you're cleaning a bowl, como estás limpiando una like
A bowl. You're cleaning a
pequeños.
bowl. Clean the bowl out. Yes or no?
So,
I don't know if Tan Linda is still there. If you're
yes,
there,
it's como
you do
cleaning the bowl. That's the
you do
image.
that.
Okay.
Because I have someone in the chat who loves dancing. I don't know if she's still there or not. So I was just asking her about it, but I think perhaps she's not there. Oh, yes, she is. What did she say?
Okay.
Oh, okay. He says, I started with songs, not knowing a stitch of the meaning, but I was singing along in the salsa club with the top of my voice with the rest of the Cubans. You know, we have to celebrate this. I love that. I love that. And I think that's really how we really learn. Es como aprendimos, ¿no? Es que tenemos que hacerlo porque sí, hacer las cosas que realmente nos gusta, como las canciones, el baile, having a good time, basically, you know, just having fun with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, or find books that you like, or you can start with like encontrar como I'm like encontrar, like find books that you like, movies too, or you can even dub, because like most on like a Netflix you can find the voiceover or like the tracks in the other language. So I would say find like movies that you like, for students, like find movies that you like and just put it into Spanish, but you have English subtitles, so you just get the sense of the word. Because even with like when I first heard David Bisbal, it's funny stories too. So I didn't really, so like when I got to Burgos, like I didn't know that much Spanish. And so, but I remember my French teacher, Madame Boudier, my favorite French teacher from middle school, she would always say, like, if you're gonna start another language, like she's like, you're gonna start Italian or Spanish. She's like, they're so similar that like you'll be fine. So don't take the beginner course. And so when I was going to Burgos,
faking it is totally the way. Linda.
I know French, and then I remember getting off the plane in Brazos, and then hearing the Spanish accent, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything in French or anything in Spanish. And I'm like running to my bed when I finally got to the residencia in Burgos, and like kind of crying, like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But then when I got to Spain, when I got into like the classroom, and we took the language evaluation, I didn't get placed into the beginner. I got placed in sort of like the intermediate beginners, and it was a mix of people who had studied Spanish but like kind of forgot stuff, and they seemed a refresher course. And so I was like, okay, Manabode was right. So then the front doorman gave me the David Bisbal like CD, and so I would just like listen to it nonstop just to get more sound of it. And then also they had a language lab. So this is one way I would spend hours in the language lab, and just like they had like their version of Rosetta Stone. So we had like language. So I would spend hours in there, or just spend a lot of hours in there, pretty much listening to how it sounded and just repeating it until I thought like it sounded really good. And then and then also because we had front doormen at like that we always had to ask for our keys. So I would practice with them. And then after like even in the evenings, I would try to like practice what I learned. And so I would just like, so saying all that, just say like sort of surrounding myself. I mean, I was already like in Burgos, so like I was surrounded every day by it. But I would also like, because I was listening to David Bisbal, like I was like, it would, I feel like it also like I got better used to the sound. And then I remember one day, like a couple, or like one day, then I was like listening to it, and I'm like, wait, and then I was like, amores. I'm like, wait, I understand what this means. Amores del sur. What? Like lovers of the South. Yeah. So if I find it like sort of, because I like pop music, like, and it was there, I feel like eventually, like, and all this effort I was putting, it kind of syncs together. So I feel, so I'm saying all of this to find an avenue that you like, and like, even if it doesn't make sense, keep up with it, because it's soon or later it will sink in, like it will come together with what you're learning in the classroom, and then you're like, wait, I get it.
Yeah.
So if you like movies, find a movie so that you can have it, so that you can understand, get more of an understanding where it's coming from. And then as well, like, of course, you have to put some effort into it too. So I definitely, like, one of my efforts was staying in the language lab a little extra than other people would, because a lot of people, I would sort of just do the handouts and leave, and I would just kind of, after I did the handouts, still sit there and like, okay, my aim was to sound better, and then as well, like I would make study sheets. Because I know I'm an audio visual person, so I made study sheets, and like, and I know that I also do better when I write things out for myself. So I remember actually making study sheets and then bring it to my teacher and be like, did I get this right? So she would just be like, okay, that's right. Okay, fix this. And then study the study sheets. And then when I did German, I actually started doing actually made flip cards as well too.
Okay.
So so like a combination of ways to, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think it's a great way to do it. Not just one thing, you have to do lots of different things depending on what kind of learner you are. And so it works, a lot of different things. Okay. But for you, ¿cuál fue el idioma más difícil de aprender?
Ich würde sagen, yo diría que el alemán era poco más, o en el principio era poco más difícil porque porque el alemán es más, no tiene raíces, romances, con el francés, con el español. Para mí, yo puedo, como cuando yo estaba aprendiendo el español, yo tenía como referentes a español o a francés. Esta palabra me suena de en francés. Pero cuando empecé con alemán, era un poco más, no entiendo esto. Yo tengo que hacer más fuerzas para aprender las palabras, pero...
y también las palabras son más largas in German. The words are super, super long because they will literally add 5 words to make one word. Where we separate those words. Like we would say room number. They would say simanuma. Simanuma. I don't know where that sounds. Simanuma. And it just, you have to remember to write it all together. And das ist nicht so einfach. For me, fue súper difícil.
Entonces, sí. En el principio no tienes idea dónde las palabras enden, dónde las palabras se separan.
No.
Se separan,
es complicado. Es complicado. Entonces, para ti, ¿cuál menos utilizas? Which language do you use the least?
Least. The least. I would say actually I don't use patois that often.
Okay.
So I don't use it that often. But making an effort to speak to my parents more, like on the phone now. And so it's funny, like the past couple times I talked to them, we had like a good 15 a good minute where I was like, okay, I think I'm saying this, but of course I would add my French in there, and they're like, okay, we'll change this up. And then funny, I'd say I don't speak French that often.
Okay.
And I always feel like it's because I didn't spend as much time in France as I did Germany and Spain, because in Spain so my first year of college in Spain, and then in 2011, 2012, I taught English in a small town north of Barcelona called Purej. And so, I feel and then in Germany, I spent a year in Germany.
Okay.
And I lived with a host family. And then I lived in a dorm my second semester, and I also had an internship. So like I had more like time. I feel like I had more time to sort of like use it, and a longer exposure. And French, while I did studied it all through middle school and high school, and then I only spent like 6 weeks in French. And so like I feel like in some ways also it could be also that like I don't feel like very confident using it, or like I have to think more to bring it out, because a lot of times when I'm speaking to someone in French, where my part-time job is now, like there's a lot of people from French-speaking Africa, and so like I can speak to them, and but when it gets to larger conversations, then I find words coming up in German and Spanish first,
absolutely,
and have to kind of sit there a little bit and like, okay, that's the word I want, but it's in Spanish, so how would I translate that to French?
Yeah, it's a constant dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, culturally, where do you feel you place? Do you feel more Caribbean? Do you feel, or maybe you don't even have to choose? What do you think of that? Is that something you think of?
Oh yeah, I kind of do think about it. So I identify.
Just a moment, because I keep putting up the messages, but I'm not going over. Yeah, I mumble along words sometimes, and it's just Ojo de Chameleon. He's actually St. Lucian as well. No, he's St. Lucian as well. He's half Jamaican, half St. Lucian, but he's lived in England. He's from England, and so that's why we connect so well. So I think some said it's called St. Lucian Creole, El Paso. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's actually called both. So like, it's so like the way he says Creole. It can also be pronounced Creole, like the first one, Creole.
Okay, Creole.
So you can say Creole. Definitely call it Creole, St. Lucian Creole, St. Lucian Creole, or Patois. So all three mean something. Yeah,
just the same thing. Okay, sorry.
I have cousins, actually. So I was going to ask you, what part of Britain are you from? Because I have cousins that live in, of course, because St. Lucia is a British Isle, that live in England too. And I've gone to England a couple summers too, with my aunts that moved to England.
Can you put it in? I know he's from London somewhere. Where are you from? Did you say that you write it down? Because I don't want to say it and then. He's from London. He's from London. He's a Londoner. He's a Londoner. He's a posh Londoner. All right. So
and I have cousins who are half Jamaican too, who are half Jamaican, half St. Lucian as well.
That is very interesting. This is why I love these chats. You know, we meet people. This is fantastic. Me encanta, me encanta. El mundo no es tan grande.
Sí.
Somos estamos conectados todos.
Sí. Okay. But otra, I thought of another thing. I also don't use Catalan that much because, like, of course, there's not many people that speak Catalan.
Okay.
And then actually, I remember like when I taught, or I think when I got to Catalonia, I think I was a little like nervous. Actually, I couldn't speak, so I didn't want to. It's really fun. So I guess I wanted to learn it. So I actually started learning it a little halfway into my journey, and I kind of got by with like it was a kind of a mix between Spanish and French, that I understood it, but I didn't like speak it. And then I guess in some way, like I felt like a little bit like with Patois, I felt like my accent would be really weird, so I kind of felt weird speaking it. But then the friends I made when I saw my little bit of Catalan, they were like, "You speak very well, Catalan. You need to speak it more." So actually, right now, I use Duolingo just to keep it up, and I speak like a little bit like to my friends. And actually, I have a cousin that actually lives in Catalonia, and he married a Catalan woman, and his daughter Mila. She has WhatsApp. She's old enough to have WhatsApp now. So sometimes I send little things to her in Catalan, and she'll correct my Catalan pronunciation, which I like. I'm like,
yeah, that's nice. That is nice. Camille says, wow, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, I think all our stories are quite similar. But I've jumped the question. I'm sorry. We're talking about the cultural thing, and then I cut you off, and then you didn't finish answering that about where you place yourself.
Oh, best place.
Culturally.
Culturally, I'd say Caribbean American or St. Lucian
Okay.
American, because
Okay.
I'm very, because like yes, I think I became more, because like when I was younger, I definitely didn't feel St. Lucian, because like, of course,
Okay.
word my cousins would say, or my parents, like, you're right, American, which is American in St. Lucian Creole, American, like you American. So like, I'm American for sure. I'm like, okay, I'm American. And then, but then like when but funny enough, I guess as well, like my first years of schooling was in a Caribbean American environment. Like most of the actually most of the students, all their parents came from the Caribbean, so we were all like American kids of from Caribbean parents.
Yeah.
But then when I went to public school, and when I went to public school, that's when I felt like I first met with, like, I guess more like American Black people.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, I'm definitely not like, so in my head I was like, I'm not American really, because there were some things like cultural references that they would bring up, and I was just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I think everyone has this, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
It happens. Linda is with un panuelo. If anyone's listening who doesn't understand what that means, it just means the world. How would we say this in English? Un panuelo. El mundo es un panuelo. It just means that it's a small place. Panuelo is a handkerchief. It's a small place. And it really is. It absolutely is. So, okay, can you tell us something about St. Lucia? I don't think I know that much about St. Lucia. I know the beautiful beaches. I know the landscape from photos, from pictures that I've seen. But for you, what's the most beautiful thing about St. Lucia?
Ooh, the most beautiful thing about St. Lucia. Say the lifestyle. I'm like, I guess like I love the history of it. Like that's one thing I love.
Share.
And like the history, and I also love that, like, and this is why I'm Caribbean American, St. Lucian American, because like I know, like when I've gone to St. Lucia, I really feel like I blend in, and I really feel like this is where my roots are, and I feel like when I'm in New York, where I belong. Yeah, like when I'm in New York, I'm like, yeah, this is my home. This is where I was born. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn. But like when I was younger, even people thought like I spoke too well to be from Brooklyn, or so people were like, "You're from Brooklyn, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they thought I had an accent in Brooklyn. So it's weird, and I was like, "Okay." And then but like when I go to St. Lucia, I definitely feel like I belong. I look like a St. Lucian. So until I open my mouth, people are like, "Okay, you're American." And like, and both my parents are from St. Lucia. My mom's from the north, my dad's from the south. So I feel like definitely a sense of like connection. Like this is like where my roots are from. And I definitely like, I like somewhat freedom. Cause like also like when I was younger, I used to love that, like, cause one of my aunt I used to stay with, she had a pickup truck. And so we could ride on the outside, like on the back, like stay on the back and ride in it. And I was like, oh, this is like freedom. I definitely, I guess, wish I could have grown up there a bit more too. Because like in New York, but I guess also like I grew up in Brooklyn, so my parents were also aware of hearing like the different. We lived in East New York, so like they knew, I guess, heard of all like, how rough it is. So they had us very sheltered in a sense that like they would always drive us from like. When we pretty much went 3 places, like from place to place, we go home, school, church, and then if like they weren't driving us, our aunts or uncles would drive us, or another trusted adult. And like I didn't even get to take the subway to school until I went to like I think high school, because they were just like that, or like middle school. So like they were just that nervous. So like I guess so free. So English always kind of meant like more freedom. It's more locker. See, random German coming up. That's not the word, locker. So also the history. So the history that I like of it, it kind of feels mystical a little bit. So like there's the nickname of St. Lucia, or like the moniker, is the Helen of the West.
Helen of the West.
Because the French had it first, and then Britain took it over. And so Britain and France fought over it 14 times.
Oh my gosh.
because, and they say like that they fought over those 14 times because St. Lucia has naturally deep harbors. So it has naturally deep harbors. So of course, if they had St. Lucia, they'd have definitely like a good spot to send like sugar ship, or like ships that were sending sugar and other commodities. And so the British finally got it in like 1814 in the Treaty of Paris. And because they fought over it those 14 times, they got the moniker Helen of the West after Helen of Troy. So I think that's kind of cute. And that's also kind of where I guess the base of French comes from, because the French had it for quite a while. So like a lot of the settlers and so like English is the administrative. So because England became got possession of it, then English became the administrative language. But of course, the culture has its French base to it.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then also other things I find endearing about it, like they also have like the festivals. I haven't seen in person yet, but like I've definitely heard. My mom has her best friend still lives in the island, and so she sent me sent me like a whole like costume. So like usually there's this these two I guess they're dance crew, not crews. It's American. There's the American that's coming out. Dance crews or dance groups. So they have this festival La Magaouite, and they have a specific costume. So there's La Rose and La Magaouite. So this, I guess, two opposing dance or two different types of dances. So that's like a cultural dance that they have. And actually, a little like doll that has like the costume.
Yeah. Okay, so that's like, so
cute. So, and usually would wear this like costume. The women would, when they're doing like those dances, those cultural dances.
Yes.
So like so one of her friends sent me one that I actually I haven't worn it yet, but my mom's worn it, because like of course like in any like Caribbean diaspora, you have like your groups that are in each city, and like they have like their there's Creole Day in St. Lucia too. And it's not too long. Actually, the St. Lucian Independence Day is tomorrow. And so like usually like so yeah, 1979 they became independent from Britain.
Wow. After Jamaica. Jamaica was Tanlinda, correct me if I'm wrong, was I think Jamaican independent from Britain was 1962. Am I correct? I think it was before St. Lucia's. I think ours was 1962. I want to say 63, but my mom was born in 63. So, and
I think
sorry. Yeah, a very important point.
Monday,
I want
second.
Sorry. Oh, okay. A very important point that you touched, and Tyrone and I were talking about this yesterday as well. The point when you were talking about your accent, el acento, que el acento nos define, ¿no? Y como gente negra, se supone que tienes que hablar de cierta manera, de la calle, porque hablamos así, no hablamos de una manera educada. Entonces, es verdad, cuando luego tú hablas bien, la gente se sorprende. Es lo que decías before, that you didn't speak like you were from Brooklyn. That's what you were saying before. And I thought that was very interesting that we live it over in Britain. You live it over there in America. And I think it's a universal thing that you are supposed to speak a certain way if you're from a certain country or you're from a certain ethnicity. There's a way you're boxed in, you know? And that's, what do you have to say about this? Do you think this is a thing? Is this something you considered, that people expect that from you, expect you to be a certain way, to speak a certain way?
Yeah, I've noticed that people kind of do expect like expect you to speak a certain way, and they're surprised a lot. And then like they just are surprised, and it's, I guess thinking about it, it's kind of like looking at it now, sometimes it's a bit annoying. But I also remember, somewhat annoying. But then sometimes I guess in the past couple, or maybe the past like since maybe more like, but I think even like high school, then I sort of, as a way of pride, like, okay, I speak this way, and like I took it on like, okay, I have to just have intersecting thoughts, the way that I speak, just to be an example, to be like, to kind of prove that not all Black people are monolith, that we aren't like what people say. Like, I remember when I was younger, actually when I first got to public school, my mom would, and I started picking up more like slang words. Then she'd be like, I speak the Queen's English. You're not going to, she's like, you're not going to pick this. You're not bringing this to my house. So she would be like, no, speak properly.
Yeah.
And I guess she was also a teacher when she was back in, before she immigrated to New York, she was a teacher. So she was like, no, we're speaking proper English here. And then like, when I got to like middle school, people said like I spoke white. And then I was just like,
I hate that.
And I was just like,
speak white. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, I know, right? And I think my mom was just like, oh, they're just like, she was like, don't listen to them. She's kind of more dismissed it. So then I think because she dismissed it, I was like, okay, fine. Yeah. And then I think high school, my high school was more mixed. So there were more people from different, like more white students, and also students from different also like ethnic groups too. Russian students, Russian Jewish students for like Italian American students. So then it was like, then I think I just kind of got like, okay, I was more free to be myself. And I just kind of like kept my, I guess my white speaking ways. But then like, I was just like, but then I think also that time too, like I started getting more comfortable just being like, okay, more comfortable in the idea of being like that Black people aren't a monolith. So I was just like, no, I need to just speak my way, because like, we're not all the same. And like, I think, and then I think when I started getting more into musicals, people were like, wow, you speak really well. And I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, that's when I started talking more about St. Lucia, being like, my parents are from here. And like, again, people were like, oh, okay. And then it was like, okay, I have to keep speaking about this more, because probably this person thinks just because I have more brown, that they think I'm automatically from Brooklyn, that like, I don't know where I've been. And like, and by that time I'd like gone to St. Lucia for the summers, I'd gone to England, and I was like, well, also, I've gone to England. I have family in England. And so like, then it became more of a thing. Like I became more of like, I need to kind of represent, in my head, I guess unofficially, it was like, I need to represent that like all Black people aren't or that all Black people in the States haven't traveled, don't know any other place. And like, it kind of became my mission, I guess. And even when I was in Spain, in Burgos, and I talked to my parents to be like, okay, like, yeah, like my parents are from the Caribbean, and then because I feel like sometimes people, or like my experience when I was in Spain, that people thought I was Black, so they were like, oh yeah, you're automatically would think I'm from the States, and then like their questions kind of led me to believe that they didn't think like, they thought like this was my first time leaving the States, and I was like, no, like my parents are from St. Louis. I've traveled. And then also when I was in Germany too, then people all automatically, then they had also a little bit different where they thought like either I was African or from the States, and they didn't even like really think about the Caribbean. And then I'm like, no, there's other places. There
are other places. And then everywhere. Yeah. And it's, I think it's educating, I think, and just being in a place where we can, showcase the variety of people that exist, and that we learn languages. And just because you learn new languages, it doesn't mean that you're not proud of your roots. But there's such a thing as linguist. If you want to be a linguist, it doesn't limit you to your community. It doesn't limit you to your country. It doesn't limit anyone. And so I think that's important as well, that that's why I feel that these conversations are relevant. So you show the younger generation that the world is bigger than your village, the world is bigger than what you believe. And it is important that, and so I was very pleased to have met you, and I'm glad that you've shared a little bit about your heritage with us, because it's always such an important point when you're learning about different countries, not just language, but the people, what they do. And so I am so pleased that you've taken the time out to be here with us today. And
thank you. Ooh, also, sorry, also a thing that I find also like interesting about St. Lucia too, or like okay, I guess I'm an academic nerd, but like whatever.
Okay, I like nerds.
Also, that like St. Lucia also has 2 Nobel Prize winners. So there's Sir Arthur Lewis. I never is it Lewis? I forgot, but he got the he has the maybe saying his name wrong, but I think it's for Arthur for sure. He has a Nobel Prize for mathematics, and that was the first Nobel Prize. And then our other Nobel Prize winner is Derek Walcott for literature. And he's in '92, I think he got his Nobel Prize winner.
What did he win? What was he?
Nobel Prize for literature. One of his.
No, continue. Sorry.
One of his famous works is called Omeros, and it's like a Caribbean retelling of a traditional. I love how I should know this of like of one of the Greek poems. I'm like, this is how well I know this, but I know it's called Omeros.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's definitely really interesting. We could go and have a little look for that to see more details. But that's definitely really interesting. And before we go, one last question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
¿Cuál es tu lema de vida? What's your motto in life?
It's changed a little bit. So it's I can't pick. Well, okay. I'll say just 2. Just 2 mottos.
Okay.
One is from my art teacher when Mr. Rosado, and he always, he's like, it's 99% perspiration and like 1% inspiration. And he'd always say that to be like, you can't like, you have to put in the work pretty much. And so I always, that's one thing I take it, especially, I guess I've taken that from art and put that into my languages.
Yeah, I love that.
And so like that one's like, so in my head, so that's in like my head, like, oh, you have to like work for it. Like, yeah, you have the idea, but you need to put the work behind it.
Absolutely.
And then as of in the past couple of years, my other motto is like, it's not the goal, it's who you become on the way to the goal.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's not the goal, it's what you become on the way to the goal.
Yeah, so in a way, sort of spoke in my, and I think that's come about in a way so that I can focus more on the journey and like not, because I remember one time
living in the moment.
During the moment, yeah, and also for the moment, because it's in like a couple of years ago, I was like on this journey to like become in the best shape of my life and like come to the best shape of my life. So I'd be like had this really drastic diet and this really like and this like really kind of like I guess grueling like exercise routine, like besides like, so I had entered besides doing like these at-home workouts, I was also like doing a biathlon training for biathlon triathlon, doing like 5Ks and like 5Ks, or just 5Ks, 10Ks, and did a half marathon. But then I was kind of becoming, I felt like I was becoming more snippy and becoming like not enjoying it. But I was doing all this, like, I really want to like look this way. I want to like lose weight for basketball.
Yeah.
And then at some point I was like, well, like if it's not making me like, yeah, I look good, but I don't really feel good. So like, it's really who you become on the journey. So like, you need to like, so that's in one negative way, but on another good way, it's also like the, like when I was doing my languages, like it made me more like also part of the things I learned along the way. It was like I became more studious. I became more focused. So trying to like sort of in both ways, try to think about like who I'm becoming along the journey, not just like focus on the end goal. Yeah.
That is beautiful. And do you think you've changed along the way throughout your journey?
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, 100%. Do you feel as though you have changed? Have you the person you were, even say 10 years ago, has it changed a lot?
Yeah, I do think I've changed. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you're freezing up. So you keep
you type it. It froze, or it's freezing now again.
your language journey,
or the internet being funky with
language
this
journey
again.
So your language journey, has it changed the person you were, the person you are today?
Okay, so I think
¿Ha cambiado con el viaje que has tenido?
Sorry, one more time.
¿Aprendiendo tus idiomas? ¿Has cambiado como persona? ¿Has cambiado tú en este viaje?
Oh, yo, sí. ¿Más?
Gracias, Fabian.
Pienso que entendí que he dicho. Sí, okay, it's being funky. It's being
I think
okay, so I think he's asked if I've changed from learning languages.
Yeah.
Because the internet keeps chopping up. So.
Yeah, but we're going to log off soon anyway.
Yeah, you're too. Just annoying. Internet, work with us, please.
This is our last question. Otherwise, we'll talk and talk forever.
Okay. But I think we have the sense of your question.
Okay. Tanlinda was asking you.
Back. Okay, so I think I understood heard your question. So I think I have changed.
Okay. Perhaps it's my connection too. Okay. I think perhaps that's who she meant, but she's frozen a little bit now. So you were so clued up, Linda. Every time we're talking about something, I love how clued up you are. I cannot have a live without you. Now you have the obligation. But guys, I'm going to wait a couple of seconds for her. And if we can't get her back, we're going to end there. And solely because, well, we've been on for nearly an hour and a half. And so I think, yeah, it's been lovely. I love doing these sessions. And so the more people we can have come on, the better. And if anyone's on their language journey in here at the moment and they'd like to come on, do let me know. This is our little rincon. This is our little corner for language. But yeah, I think I'm going to log off now, guys. And just thank you so much for being here. And until next time. Mwah. Os quiero mucho. Until next time, guys. Adios.